Okay, here we go. We're going to reassemble the motor for the ROVAN XLT 45, or 450 rather. This is a ROVAN 45cc motor that I have take the Dremel, and then I just took the extra metal off, port matched, and polished everything up. So, like I said, not an expert. Don't do what I do. So I'm just doing this in my shop, pass the time. I really don't know what I'm doing, but we'll see if it runs. So let's get started. Got new seals. These are SKF seals. The ROVAN seal, one of these, I think it might have been this one. The original seal was a 5.5 millimeter. I couldn't find a 5.5 millimeter, so I went with a 7 millimeter. It should fit. I think it was this one. It should fit. We'll see, but I have a feeling it's going to be fine. So what I did, you can see it's dripping, but I just dropped my new bearings in some two-stroke oil. These are SKF bearings. Same part number, it's a 60201, but they're open both sides. They do not have a shield or a seal, so it's just a open-sided bearing. Both the bearings are the same on each side. So what I'm going to do now, pull this out of the bag of oil, drop my pick. Just using the pick to pull this out of the oil. What I do recommend, again, I'm not an expert, is using a heat gun and just heating up this half of the case a little bit, just so that you can, it makes pressing the bearing a lot easier.
Not too much heat, just enough to get it, get the metal expanded a little bit. This heat gun heats up everything super fast, so just keep an eye on it.
Get yourself a rag to hold the half of the case. Drop the bearing in. So you see I got the bearing in there. Now what I use for this is a 22 millimeter socket, and it fits on the outside race. And I'm just going to use this socket and my vise to press this in.
A 23 would probably work better, but I can't find my 23. I use the rag on the other side of the case so that I don't mar up my aluminum too bad. And make sure it's important that you make sure that it's on the outside race. You just go ahead and press the new bearing in. Make sure you're going in square so you don't crack your case. I give it a little bit more heat. Steady, even pressure. Again, not an expert.
Then you just want to push it. There's a snap ring in there. Seat it right up tight to that snap ring. It's going to be flush and even all the way around. Bearing's gonna spin nice and free, no hang-ups. So there's that set. Now, that aluminum is still hot, so I'm gonna take the seal. Seal goes in there. This is a 12-inch bore, 32 inch or two. Sorry, this is millimeters. 12 millimeter bore, 32 millimeter diameter, and a 7 millimeter. How do I want to say that? 7 millimeter thickness. And this seal you can just kind of push in by hand. And just keep that seal flush with the case. This side is for where your clutch goes. So this is going to keep clutch material out, keep oil out of the clutch material. Like I said, just want to be flush. Perfect. That's exactly what I want to see. This side looks good. On to the next side. This is your, obviously this is the side your flywheel's on. There's a shoulder in there that you're going to press your bearing against.
No snapping. Try that. Now, if you wanted to do this with a hammer, you could probably do it with a hammer. I just don't recommend it. All that percussion that you're putting on that aluminum. It's only cast aluminum.
Spins nice and free. All flush, ready to go. Now this is clean 2-stroke oil. I'm going to use this to lubricate the internals as I go. So now we got both sides of this case ready to go. Now what this is the Moto Seal gasket maker. It's a fuel resistant gasket maker, and I'm just going to use this as a gasket sealer for these crank gaskets. For this case gasket. Here's your case gasket. ROVAN part number 67011511. And all you gotta do is take a little bit of this on your finger and just tap it on here. Little goes a long way. Remember, you're putting a gasket on here. This is just to give that gasket that extra reassurance that it's not gonna leak oil out of that crankcase. And also, the amount that you put on, and it squeezes out. It squeezes on the outside and on the inside, so that's all going into your motor too. There's dowel pins on this. Don't forget your dowel pins. All right, we got that on. First gasket's on. Now we need our crankshaft, which is right here. Oh, I just realized you can't see this. So I got the moto seal on there and the gasket. A little bit. I just dabbed it on with my finger. And we got our dowel pins. Now I'm going to put the crankshaft in, and if you look at your crankshaft, this side goes towards the flywheel, got your keyway, and this is your clutch side. I'm no good at filming, bear with me. So you just put that in till it's seated. Okay, should be able to see that better. Now, this side, take a rag, a little bit of brake cleaner, clean the mating surface. Moto seal, Permatex Moto seal. That's how much I'm putting on my finger. Now watch. I'm just going to spread this out. Anything you get inside, swipe out. Like so. And now we're going to push this over. Like that. There you go. That's together. You got your crank bearings, you got your seals in, and got that get together with the gasket. So now it's time to put in our bolts. 4mm Allen. Now what I like to do is if you're reusing these, I just run these through a die. Get the right size die. Just like this. I'm going to use red Loctite to put these back together. Even though motor could get hot enough to make this soft, I'll still use it. Don't want my motor to come undone. And then this gets bolted together from the flywheel side. And I just bring them in snug. Crisscross them. Get them all in there first. After I get them in there, I start making the turns like this. A little bit more leverage, snugging them up evenly, going in a crisscross, uniform pattern. Remember, these are only threading into aluminum. Nice crisscross. Seat that gasket nice. Don't have to go super heavy on the torque, just tight. Don't want it to come apart. Now if you notice there's this upper lip on the crank gasket, that's just so it doesn't rip during shipping. All you need to do, take a razor blade, hold it flush, and cut away from yourself. Nice and flush. Make sure none of that gasket material goes down into the engine. There you go. That moves beautifully. Now, I am going to take a little bit of this. Let that two-stroke oil get all over those bearings down there. More brake cleaner. Clean up all that oil you just spilled. Now we have to put the piston in. Lightly clamp it, because that crankshaft's going to hold this up in the vise. Light, light, light. Light pressure. Barely snug. Here's my piston, wrist pins and thrust washers, and I'm going with the ROVAN dual ring 45cc piston with one ring. I'm going to put ROVAN part number 670096. That is a ring for the 45cc. You can put just a single ring on this dual ring piston. Alright. You look on these pistons, there's a notch in these rings, and then there's a groove on the piston. Just gotta line that up so the piston or the ring seats itself. It's like that, and then you feel for it, and you can compress that ring and put it into the sleeve. So this bearing goes through there, the wrist pin bearing, and we have our wrist pin. So we can start this by putting one that pushed in all the way. And good thing I just double checked. I put the piston in backwards. So what you want to do, that arrow points to the exhaust, and I wasn't paying attention. So we'll just flip this piston around. Sure everything looks good. Then clean pick. Push the wrist pin in. Then we have this G clip, and then this. Put it in with a pair of needle nose or a similar tool.
Get it in its groove, as best as you can, till it snaps in.
There we go. She is seated, ready to go. I just want to double check the G clip on this side. Beautiful. All right, our piston's in its home. Bring that to bottom dead center. All right. Again, I'm going to clean that mating surface. More of the Permatex Moto Seal. Again, just put our gasket on there, and then put more of this crap on. Work that piston around. You feel where it's got to go. So my 2-stroke oil. Just getting some on the ring, make it a little bit easier to slide in. Find your groove. Go. Nice and tight. Again, crisscross pattern. There you have it. Everything's put back together nice. I can see that that ring is in a good spot. Now what you can do here, get some more oil in there. Lubricate that piston up. Beautiful. there you have it. I'm just gonna let everything sit and cure, the Loctite especially, but that's gonna do it. And then maybe I'll do another video on the rest of the reassembly, but I think I'm gonna just do it off camera because this is something that I don't do often. So till the next one, see you later.